Welcome to the Healing Waves Reiki podcast. I'm your host, Cathy Scarpitto, Reiki Master Teacher, spiritual mentor, intuitive, and physical therapist. This is a grounded, heart-centered space where we explore Reiki, energy, and the science and spirit of healing. How Reiki supports the body, deepens intuition, regulates the nervous system, and helps transform the experience of healing. Where Reiki meets science, intuition meets practice, and healing becomes more human. If you're curious about Reiki, drawn to deeper healing, or seeking a more connective and intuitive way to care for yourself or others, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Today, I want to begin by sharing why this podcast exists, who this space is for, what Healing Waves means, and what you can expect here. I am so excited to get started, and I am so happy that you're here. If you feel called to a more connected, intuitive, and whole person approach to healing, this podcast is for you. If you're curious about Reiki and want to understand it in a grounded, accessible way, this podcast is for you. If you are drawn to healing that honors both science and spirit, where nervous system support, intuition, energy, and embodied care all have a place, this podcast is for you. If you are on your own healing journey and want to feel more connected to your body, your intuition, and the deeper process of healing, this podcast is for you. If you are a Reiki practitioner who wants to deepen your understanding of the work, expand your perspective, and feel more supported in how you practice, this podcast is for you. If you are a healthcare practitioner, a helper, or someone who knows that healing is about more than protocols alone and want to bring more presence, intuition, and humanity into the way you care for others, this podcast is for you. I'm Cathy Scarpitto, Reiki Master Teacher, spiritual mentor, intuitive, and physical therapist. My work has always lived at the intersection of science and spirit. As a physical therapist, I've spent decades working with the body and seeing how healing happens through structure, support, function, nervous system regulation, and skilled clinical care. Through Reiki, I've come to understand something just as important. Healing is also shaped by presence, energy, intuition, safety, and the way care is experienced. Over the years, I kept seeing the same truth show up again and again. Healing is never just physical. Healing is not only about what we do to the body, it is also about how the body feels when it is being cared for. It is about whether someone feels safe enough to soften, supported enough to receive, regulated enough to heal, connected enough to trust what their body is asking for. And that changed the way I understood healing. It changed the way I understood care. Because healing is not just about treatment. It's not just about symptoms, diagnoses, protocols, or fixing what is wrong. Healing is also about presence, safety, connection, compassion, the way someone feels while they are being cared for. Healing becomes more human when we remember that people are not just bodies. They are nervous systems. They are emotional beings. They are energetic beings. They are whole people carrying stress, stories, fear, grief, hope, and lived experience. And all of that matters in healing. To make healing more human means we stop treating people like conditions to manage and begin meeting them as whole people to care for. It means that the healing process includes being seen, feeling safe, being heard, feeling supported, and creating enough regulation for the body to receive care. It means we begin to recognize that how care is given can be just as important as what care is given. The treatment matters, but so does the tone, the presence, the nervous system, the felt sense of safety in the room. That is what it means to make healing more human. And this podcast was created to explore that space. A space where Reiki meets science, intuition meets practice, and healing becomes more human. A space where we can talk about Reiki in a grounded and accessible way, where we can explore energy healing, nervous system support, intuition, and whole person care side by side, where we can bridge the practical and the spiritual, the measurable and the meaningful, the science and the unseen. Because healing is not linear, it moves in waves. There are moments of insight, moments of release, moments of rest, moments of integration. Sometimes healing feels clear and expansive. Sometimes it asks us to slow down, soften, and listen more deeply. Healing Waves speaks to that rhythm, to the way healing moves through the body, through the nervous system, through emotion, through energy, through intuition, and through the quiet ways we begin to return to ourselves. It also reflects the energetic nature of healing itself. Everything is energy. Everything carries frequency. And healing moves through us in waves, through presence, intention, resonance, and the subtle energetic shifts that help restore balance and support the body's natural ability to heal. For me, Healing Waves speaks to healing as both science and spirit, as something felt in the body, sensed in the nervous system, and experienced in the deeper rhythms of energy, intuition, and care. It is healing as movement, healing as rhythm, healing as return. In this space, I'll share grounded conversations, practical teachings, and reflections on Reiki, intuition, healing, and nervous system support. I will also be joined by Reiki practitioners who are bringing Reiki into the world in thoughtful, creative, and deeply meaningful ways. You'll hear conversations that explore how Reiki is being practiced in healthcare, in private practice, in intuitive work, and in everyday life. My hope is that this podcast helps you feel more connected to yourself, to your body, to your intuition, and to your own healing process. Whether you're new to Reiki or already deep on your path, this space is here for you. And I am so glad you're here at the beginning of this journey. Next time, we are going to explore what Reiki is and what Reiki is not, and why understanding that matters. I'll see you then. Thank you for listening to the Healing Waves Reiki podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may need it. Subscribe and leave a review so more people can find this work. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep healing. This podcast is intended for informational, educational, and inspirational purposes only. The content shared on this podcast is not medical, psychological, legal, or professional advice, and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any condition. Always seek the guidance of a qualified healthcare provider, mental health professional, or other licensed professional regarding your specific needs. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host. Listener discretion and personal responsibility are advised.